Which component of the CPB circuit serves as the artificial lungs where oxygenation and carbon dioxide removal take place? A. Roller pump. B. Reservoir. C. Oxygenator. D. Arterial filter. Answer: C. Oxygenator. Explanation: the oxygenator is the core component responsible for gas exchange. It diffuses oxygen into the blood and removes carbon dioxide, mimicking the natural function of the lungs during bypass. What is the primary function of the venous reservoir in a standard CPB circuit? A. To filter out microemboli. B. To act as a holding chamber for deoxygenated blood and manage volume fluctuations. C. To actively pump blood back to the patient. D. To cool the blood down rapidly. Answer: B. To act as a holding chamber for deoxygenated blood and manage volume fluctuations. Explanation: deoxygenated blood drains by gravity or vacuum into the venous reservoir. It acts as a buffer zone, storing blood before it is pumped through the rest of the circuit, allowing the perfusionist to manage the patient's fluid volume. Most modern CPB machines use which type of oxygenator due to its lower risk of blood trauma and better gas control? A. Bubble oxygenator. B. Film oxygenator. C. Membrane oxygenator. D. Disc oxygenator. Answer: C. Membrane oxygenator. Explanation: membrane oxygenators use a thin plastic membrane to separate the blood from the gas phase, drastically reducing blood trauma, hemolysis, compared to older bubble oxygenators, where gas was blown directly into the blood. Which type of pump used in CPB is non-occlusive and depends on centrifugal force, reducing the risk of massive air embolism if the reservoir runs dry? A. Roller pump. B. Centrifugal pump. C. Reciprocating pump. D. Diaphragm pump. Answer: B. Centrifugal pump. Explanation: centrifugal pumps use a spinning cone or impeller to move blood via kinetic energy. Because they are non-occlusive, they will not displace air into the arterial line if the reservoir empties, making them inherently safer against catastrophic air embolisms than roller pumps. During CPB, standard systemic anticoagulation is strictly required. What is the target activated clotting time, ACT, before initiating bypass? A. Greater than 150 seconds. B. Greater than 250 seconds. C. Greater than 480 seconds. D. Greater than 1000 seconds. Answer: C. Greater than 480 seconds. Explanation: to prevent massive clotting when blood comes into contact with the synthetic surfaces of the CPB circuit, heavy anticoagulation with heparin is required. A baseline ACT is usually around 100 to 130 seconds. A safe target for CPB is generally accepted as greater than 400 to 480 seconds. What medication is administered at the end of CPB to reverse the effects of heparin? A. Protamine sulfate. B. Warfarin. C. Vitamin K. D. Tranexamic acid. Answer: A. Protamine sulfate. Explanation: protamine sulfate is a highly alkaline protein that binds ionically to strongly acidic heparin, forming a stable, inactive salt complex that neutralizes heparin's anticoagulant properties. In a standard CPB setup for a coronary artery bypass graft, CABG, where is the venous cannula typically inserted? A. Ascending aorta. B. Femoral artery. C. Right atrium. D. Left ventricle. Answer: C. Right atrium. Explanation: for standard bypass, deoxygenated venous blood is drained from the right atrium, either via a single cannula or separate cannulas in the superior and inferior vena cava, and routed to the CPB machine. Where is the arterial cannula most commonly placed to return oxygenated blood back into the patient's systemic circulation? A. Ascending aorta. B. Pulmonary artery. C. Inferior vena cava. D. Right ventricle. Answer: A. Ascending aorta. Explanation: the ascending aorta is the preferred site for arterial cannulation because it easily accommodates the high flow rates required to perfuse the entire systemic arterial system. What is the primary purpose of adding cardioplegia during CPB? A. To thin the blood to prevent clots. B. To induce cardiac arrest and protect the myocardium, heart muscle, from ischemia. C. To increase the heart rate during the procedure. D. To maintain high systemic blood pressure. Answer: B. To induce cardiac arrest and protect the myocardium, heart muscle, from ischemia. Explanation: Cardioplegia is a cold solution, typically high in potassium, infused into the coronary arteries. It stops the heart in diastole, relaxation, lowering its oxygen demand to near zero, providing a still, bloodless field for the surgeon while protecting the muscle from damage. Why is a heat exchanger integrated into the CPB circuit? A. To boil the blood to sterilize it. B. To regulate patient temperature, enabling therapeutic hypothermia and subsequent rewarming. C. To power the mechanical pumps. D. To prevent the oxygenator from freezing. Answer: B. To regulate patient temperature, enabling therapeutic hypothermia and subsequent rewarming. Explanation: Cooling the patient, hypothermia, reduces global metabolic demand and protects vital organs, like the brain, during periods of lower blood flow. The heat exchanger cools the blood during initiation and warms it back up before weaning off bypass.